believe in afterlife awareness, and I do believe that Shanann and Nico and Bella and Cece have access. And
What did they say to me when they came to see me?
have they?
Yes.
And what did Cece say?
The first night when they found Shannon's body, I'm going to be honest with you, Dr. Phil. I was laying in the bed weeping so hard, talking to God, and I said, you know, I could just end my life now and go find my daughter. I had fallen asleep. The next morning, I get a phone call, and they found Shannon's body. I said, do you want me to identify her on the phone? And he said, yeah, you could do that. And I said, is she beautiful? He said, yes. I said, does she have black hair? And he said, yes. And I said, then you have my daughter. That night, I was laying in bed and I just felt a presence, and I heard my daughter. I felt her, and I heard her say, I love you, Mommy, and I'm sorry. She told me she was at peace. I finally fell asleep with my daughter at my presence, and she slept with me. I just felt her. The following day, I get a phone call, and they said, Sandy, we found your granddaughter, but we're not sure which one. And I said, Bella's a little taller. She's pretty slimmer. She's don't got a little belly. And if you pull her hair up a little bit, because I do their hair, and it would be so long, you know. And then I realized all the oil, they would never know. So they said, who's the one that wears a pull-up? And I said, that would be Cece. They said, well, then we have Cece. And I said, well, keep going. I said, find my Bella. And 2 hours later, they did.
It was hard for them to even tell us. You know, you could hear it in their voices. I couldn't imagine trying to be in their shoes, trying to tell the parents what they just found. Yeah.
And it was 2 hours later that they said they had found
Yeah, she was
Bella.
at the bottom of the drum, and their skin was falling off as they were trying to get them out. Everybody needed so much therapy after that. Our hearts just go out to all of them that work so damn hard on this case.
And you felt Cece and Bella's presence.
I felt Cece's presence. She was first. And she goes, hiya, Nana. And I could see her, but in my mind, you know, but I could hear her. And she said, you've been always so good to us, Nana. And we love you with our soul. And I always took their face and kissed them all over. And she grabbed my face and just kissed me all over. And Shannon said, it's okay now. And we gave kisses, and she turns her to her left. And then Bella came in, and Bella went like kind of like, hi, Nana, you know? You know, just like the way she, I don't know, just the way she did it, yeah. And she said, guess what, Nana? And I said, what, Bella? And she said, I can go to Walt Disney World anytime I want. And I said, that's right, Bella. That's right. She thanked us for loving her so much.
And that's how you remember those two?
Yes, after I saw Bella and Cece, and then Shannon was standing there. I could see her body, but like kind of like see-through, and then just her upper part turned, and then I couldn't see who was handing the baby to her, and she handed me my grandson, and it's just like Frankie. It's crazy, but looks just like Frankie.
I begged my daughter to come home. Those words never leave a mother once they've been spoken, especially when time proves they should have been louder. Shanann's mom remembers the feeling clearly, the unease that settled into her bones long before anyone else sensed danger. Phone calls became shorter. Messages felt different. A mother knows when her child's voice changes, even when oceans of distance try to hide it. Shanann was grown, a wife, a mother herself, but to the woman who raised her, she was still a daughter who needed protecting. She urged her to come home, to take the girls, to rest, to breathe, maybe even to escape for a while. It wasn't control, it was fear disguised as care. But life gets busy, conversations get postponed, and love assumes there will be more time. As you listen to this story, stay with it, because stories like this aren't just meant to be heard, they're meant to be felt. And if you believe voices like hers deserve space, simply liking the video helps make sure they aren't lost to silence. What followed those final conversations would turn begging into regret, and instinct into heartbreak. After everything was taken, Shanann's mother sat with paper and pen, trying to do the impossible, put grief into words. The letter she wrote wasn't meant for the world at first. It was meant for her daughter, for grandchildren who would never read it, for a life that could no longer answer back. Every sentence carried guilt no parent should have to hold. Should I have pushed harder? Should I have gotten on a plane? Should I have screamed instead of whispered? This letter wasn't about anger. It was about love with nowhere left to go. Parents aren't supposed to bury their children, and they're certainly not meant to bury an entire future in one moment. If stories that honor victims matter to you, subscribing keeps this space alive for remembrance, not headlines. The letter became her way of holding Shanann again, line by line, memory by memory, trying to reach her one last time across an unbearable silence. In the middle of loss, it's easy for the world to reduce people to headlines. But to Shanann's mother, her daughter and grandchildren were never a case. They were laughter on phone calls, tiny shoes by the door, birthday plans not yet lived. Bella's quiet sweetness. Celeste's infectious joy. The kind of moments grandparents brag about and parents rush through, never imagining they'll be the last. She remembers how much Shanann loved her girls, how fiercely she tried to hold everything together. This chapter of the story isn't about what happened, it's about who was lost. If you feel moved, you're welcome to leave a comment, not for debate, but as a candle in the dark. Sometimes words from strangers remind grieving families that their loved ones are still seen. Grief doesn't end when the cameras leave. Shanann's mother wakes up every day carrying the weight of unanswered questions. The kind that replay at night, whispering accusations no one can silence. Parents who lose children don't heal, they adjust to pain. She wonders if coming home would have changed everything. She wonders if love can be loud enough to stop evil once it's already decided. There's no peace in those questions, only endurance. Sharing this story isn't about reopening wounds, it's about helping others recognize isolation, fear, and quiet cries for help. If sharing this video helps even one person notice the signs sooner, then the pain carries purpose. I begged my daughter to come home. Now those words echo far beyond one family. They echo in every parent who feels something is wrong but can't quite prove it. Shanann's mother speaks now not from hatred, but from love shattered beyond repair. Her letter remains, a reminder that listening matters, that intuition matters, and that tomorrow isn't promised. If this story stayed with you, consider liking, subscribing, and sharing, not for numbers, but for memory. Because some voices deserve to be heard long after they fall silent.